Hey guys, Rick Shaw here. It's the 17th of July. We're sitting on about 80 degrees right now, and it's the humidity went up from 60 to 70%. You can just feel it, but you can also see over there. You know, we're gonna be running into another rain. We started the kids at the tutor this morning. We found a good local tutor. And so that started today. Maddie's there, and then we'll be taking Dorothy up next when he's finished. So at least that'll get them going. It doesn't give them the paperwork they need, but until school starts, I'm going to have them do that. They seem to like it. They need to get out and go somewhere to do this kind of stuff. Our last tutor we had came right to the house. This one, they're going over there, so I think that's better that they're seeing a little different sights. Less distraction for sure, so that's going to work out pretty good. But somebody had just sent me a vlogger to check out. One of my buddies on Messenger even sent me the link to it, and let me see if it's William and Wengai, I believe that's the way you would pronounce that. WENGGUY. Let me see if I can find that on the phone here. But yeah, I was looking at his channel, and there's some pretty good lot of videos. I had never heard of him before, but he looks like a pretty good dude. I went to the live stream, was looking at that. He was talking about the Andy Omar dude and this Tim K. I don't know either one of them, but I was subbed to both channels, and I watch them. I had unsubbed from Andy a while back because I'm just not into somebody bashing everybody. You know, first person you should always bash is yourself. You know, so that's just kind of crazy. But you know, that's his bag. I guess it's what he does. And okay, I guess that's all right. But I did see folks had sent me some stuff about when he actually ran into Tim K. And you know, if you got so much on the guy, put it out there. You know, put it out there. That would be the thing to do, I would say. But it's just I don't need to watch too much drama. You know, it's just, to me, it's just kind of silly. But yeah, I was at his live stream, and it was kind of cool. And then he's got a beautiful dog, and he was talking about puppies. And who knows, when she has pups, might work out. We could get one. I looked like a super well-mannered dog. You know, what we're looking for here, I don't want a dog that lives outside. You know, we're looking for something that's going to come with us. You know, you can see by my vlogs, we're walking all the time with the kids. I mean, I don't film every time, but we're always hiking and doing stuff. And you know, to have a pup along with you is always nice. You know, I've always had dogs my whole life. I have to honestly say I've never had a bad one ever. So you know, it's just I just love dogs. I always have. I do feel sad. Hello. I do feel sad how some of these dogs around here are treated. That they're not loved. I mean, you know, I had hunting dogs that stayed out in a box on a chain, but I took them hunting, and when I wasn't hunting them, I had friends that come. I had 15 at a time, you know, that we took care of. And, you know, you take good care of them. And we hunted them. And like I say, you can't leave them sit. You just can't leave these dogs sit. We trained them up and then sold some of them, kept some of them, and that's the way we did things. But you got to take care of them, you know, and you got to feed them right too. I see people here in the Philippines, they're constantly giving their dogs chicken bones. You know, it's okay if it's a raw chicken bone, but once you cook them, you know, those dogs are going to be sickly. And something I've noticed here in the Philippines, dogs don't have a lifespan like they do in the United States. My dad had a dachshund, lived 21 years. My sister had a cat that lived 20-some years. You know, you take care of your critters, and they last. You know, they'll give you a lot of love. I'm not really hang on, I got this phone started. I'm not really like a cat person. I just don't like them. They climb up on there. My first family, my wife, she loved the cats. And, they get up there and they lick the butter. They paw in a crap box. The house always smells. And they're not like a dog. They're just not. So I'm really not into, having a cat. Now, we got this one that just sort of adopted us outside the house. I'm not going to chase her away. She does catch a lot of mice around. She always see her with a mouse, even though my wife has given her a little bit of the fish that's left over and stuff like that, and she eats a little bit. I just told her don't feed her a whole lot. I don't want you putting out a big thing for her, because I want her to keep hunting the mice. And she's letting me pet her, but she's not coming in my house. It's just not going to happen. But that's okay. I don't know whose cat that was. She had kittens, and I hadn't seen the kittens for a while. But when I was up by the house way up there, that gray one, past the rec center there, and I see them up there now. All three of them, they're all up there. I think those people up there adopted them because they're in the yard. So, and there's a dog in there, and the dog's not bothering them. So, I guess that worked out for them. But we do want to find a nice dog. We have been looking. It's just be perfect. Want a dog that'll go everywhere with us. I mean, I'm not going to have a dog that lives outside. It's going to live inside the house, and it's going to be our house dog. That's exactly what we want. I don't want ever to have a dog out in a cage or in a box or anything like that. I just don't. Now, we do have one fellow over here. He has a beautiful little dog. It's looks like a Doberman. I don't know what brand it is, but very nice pup. He said it's 11 years old. He takes good care of it. But wherever he goes, he takes it. It doesn't live in his house. He's a bachelor. It lives out in a little cage when he puts it in, but he's always out walking it. Everywhere he goes, you see him taking it. And to me, that's okay. That's pretty cool. And the dog don't seem to mind. But and it's not a barker. It barked at us the first few times we walked by his place, but after he let it out, and the kids and I petted him up, and it's a friendly little guy, and everything was fine. Now he doesn't even bark at us. He just wags his tail. If he's out in the yard, he doesn't come out of the gate. He could, but he doesn't. He'll let us pet him. The kids like to pet him because he's a little sweetie. And then we got our other neighbor, Ed. He has some little pug-looking dogs, but they're real curly-haired and friendly little guys. He's got a beagle too, and I had many beagles over the years, rabbit hunters and stuff like that. But my favorite for rabbit hunting and squirrel hunting was always the terriers. My grandpap had a terrier named Susie. She was just a little tiny thing. He wouldn't get rid of that dog for... You couldn't have bought it off him. I don't care what you offered him. You could have never bought that dog off him, but he let me take him anytime I wanted. First time I took that dog out rabbit hunting, she pointed. She stopped and pointed. So I'm getting my gun ready. I used to pistol hunt with a .410 shotgun pistol, Contender. And that was there's that phone again. Let me shut this off. I don't like that it just turns... You just touch anything on this dang phone. And I don't know... Hang on, I can't see it. There we go. I'll turn it off. But she pointed, so I said, get him. And she took off into that brush pile. Guess what? I heard a squeal, and she came out with a rabbit in her mouth. I didn't even have to fire a shot. That was something. I've had some beagles that were very slow. I actually had one when Pap was slowing down a lot. He was a coal miner for 46 years, I think. And he got slowed down quite a bit. And we had this one named King that was the slowest dang dog in the world. It would take 10 steps and bark on a rabbit trail. Take 10, and then he liked that because he could keep up with that dog. And then sure enough, rabbit just be sitting there, and he'd get him because he loved his rabbit. And we always had plenty of that to eat when I was coming up. But we had a lot of hounds, blue ticks, black and tans. I always loved the red bones. There just seemed to be a real true coon dog. I had Walker foxhounds. That was always my favorite, was to fox hunt. And fox hunt at night. Anytime there was a moonlit night, you couldn't find me anywhere where everybody else went. I was out in the woods. I knew where all the trails crossed. I had built a falling block E.A. Brown. This is a gunsmith E.A. Brown, and I made it on a 22K Hornet with a nice short barrel, custom stock, super light, single shot, falling block. And I had it, I could just hook it. I had a thing on my pants and I could just hook it in there like a holster type deal that I made. Didn't even know I had it. And I had an aperture peep on it, and didn't need a scope or anything like that, just a real nice aperture peep. And when I'd hear the dogs off, I just train that rifle, get on something steady, and I would train it on that crossroad. And as soon as I seen a fox, I'd let him have it, and I was pretty good. I had a pretty good score against the fox with that little rifle. It's just a absolutely fantastic little rifle. It shot true. It was on a Shiloh Select match barrel, and I asked the guy. I had been buying a lot of barrels from him because I went exclusive to the Shilohs. They were just so good. And I said, look, I'm going to build this 22K Hornet. I got the exact twist I wanted. I said, this is the bullet I'm going to use. I'm not looking for windy situations. If it's windy, I'll use 243. And so he went ahead and did the air gauge on this one, and he called me up. He said, man, I got the barrel for you. He goes, this thing is really something. And I said, send it. And he sent it, and I went ahead and chambered that thing on that little action. And the first time I took it out to shoot, I shot a couple foulings, and I cleaned it, and then shot a few more rounds through it. And then I did 5 shots on paper at 50 yards that went through, with an aperture peep. It went through one hole. And then at 100 yards, I had a buddy. He was a big, heavy-set fella. I mean, hardly could walk, but boy, I never seen a guy behind a rifle at a bench that could, if your gun can shoot it, he was a better shot than me, that's for sure. And he took this little rifle and he sat down at the bench on some sandbags, and at 100 yards, put 10 shots through 2 holes. That was just, so I was always into the Shiloh barrels. They're select match grade. I don't know if they're even in business anymore, but that's what I got exclusive on all the rifles I built. I started buying from that guy. It wasn't far. His shipping was quick. Sometimes if I didn't have the dough, he'd just send the stuff and I'd pay him later. I mean, we got a good relationship. Great company. And then there was a gun shop around us that was closing. The fella passed away. And his wife called me because I did some work for him, and I would send work to him, the stuff that he did. He was more of mounting scopes and cleaning them, doing triggers. He didn't do any machine work at all. So he'd send me all the machine work, and I'd send him all the scopes and mounting. I didn't need to get into that anyway. And so his wife said, hey, why don't you come on over here? There's some stuff in the back he wanted you to have. And I said, you don't want to sell it? And he said, no, you can just take it all, everything underneath the cabinet from the vise over to the drill. He said he wanted you to have all that because he knew he was going. He knew that he didn't have long. And I went over there, and there was 30 Shiloh barrels in there. I mean, ones that were bought a long time ago. Different calibers, mostly 30. I think there was 10 30 caliber. There was a couple 35 caliber, and I made a 35 Whalen on one of them, and then I also did a what was it? I can't remember even the name of it, but it was a 35 mag. Can't remember the name of that caliber. It wasn't a Wildcat. Norman mag. I forget. I can't remember now. My brain sometimes isn't as good as it used to be, but I love to do the work. I love to hunt, and I love to. I've never that big of a fisherman. I used to take my boy fishing a lot, night fishing and stuff, but that just it wasn't my bag because it was like turkey hunting. First time I went turkey hunting, I shot a really nice gobbler, and I went ahead and took him home and we cooked them and it was miserable. So I stopped hunting turkey in the woods, and I always did my hunting in the grocery store. And I always bagged the turkey that said Butterball on them. And I don't care how much stuff they inject in them. That's what I grew up on. That's what I like. Wild turkeys to me suck. I don't like them, so I did quit hunting them. I just stopped hunting them for sure. If it wasn't good to eat, I didn't like to hunt it. And fishing, the only fish I liked to eat was bluegill. I had a buddy, Jim. He loved to go bluegill hunting. We just had bream poles. And all these guys cast out in the middle of these ponds. It's not where they feed, guys. They feed right at the shore. So you hide behind a shore and you drop a little piece of red worm, a little tiny hook, and boom, tug them in. And we got a whole bucket. And that's the guy who taught me how to cook bluegill. He showed me how to skin them without having to gut them. Just laid them on a piece of wood and ran your knife over the bones, and it takes the fillets right off. And then the other side, you just do it on the other way with a nice sharp Rapella knife, and you take that off. And then he would throw them in a cast iron skillet with a pound of butter and just mount it up real high with as many as we caught. Put it on his grill outside and just forget about it, and it would brown real nice. And then he'd like flip it, and I'll tell you what, it was like eating lobster. It was absolutely fantastic. It was, I learned how to cook them that way, and that's the only way I want them now. But I don't see too many bluegills around here. Tilapia is the big fish. We actually went up to a lake up in the mountains, and freshwater lake up there, and they had so many pens around. You couldn't even got a boat in there if you wanted to, because they had these big chain link pens with all the fish in there. I guess tilapia, they're freshwater fish. I didn't know. But they had a lot of pens in there. But they're okay. I don't like anything, as long as my wife fries them in the ghee. I don't like to do anything with oil. I watched that Dr. Glidden on his stuff about taking oils and stuff, and I don't want to fry anything in oil. I got a little bit, I had trouble with my heart here, just going crazy and all that, and I definitely don't want to be doing anything that's going to cause that problems. I got these little ones to raise, and I hope the good Lord gives me plenty of time with them. I ask him every day. I definitely want to. I'd love to see, these kids grow. I'd like to see them get big, even if I can't get around too good. I just want to see that day. We're very fortunate with these beautiful babies. I'm glad we got them on a tutor now. The only schooling though here now with the public schooling is this. They call it blended. Where you got this online. You got to go online to do the schooling, and I don't want to do that. No, not barking at me anymore. But that's the one that chased us on the bike one day. But to me, it's about time they loosen it up. I see in the States a lot of places are opening up for schooling and not having to do the mask, except California. The liberal bastion places, they're gonna keep pushing this. I just seen a big mask mandate everywhere in California now. It's like, come on, guys. Now they're coming up with all these variants. I did watch a thing on some doctor got up there and was talking about, when you're in the middle of a pandemic, you don't give a shot, or it'll make variants, it'll mutate. So did they cause this, and was it on purpose? These people who do this stuff have to know this. They had to know it was something that you shouldn't do. And I'm just not into it. I'm not into taking something against your will, something forced. I seen where they were giving it to kids without their parental consent. That's all a bunch of baloney. That's not right. Taking care of my kids is my job, not somebody, a million miles off in some government post. That's not their job. That's my job. So, another thing I wanted to address today too. I had a few comments that I took down immediately from the one I did on the video called High Scoot, and there was a couple of fellows, gay fellows there. And not lady boys, because they didn't dress like ladies or anything, but gay guys. Admittedly, they came right out. Yeah, okay. And me, I don't hate anyone. That's his lifestyle, that's his business. But in order to talk to him, and get anywhere with them. You can't do it in a position of anger or hatred. It doesn't work, guys, and it's a stupid way to be. Some of these people say, "What are you? I'm deleting your channel because you're talking with these guys." Okay, bye. Bye. Everybody's a sinner, so you're going to stop dealing with anybody because they're a sinner. In the good Lord's eyes, one sin is the same as the next. That's just the way it is. That's what I read anyway. But I don't hate those folks. Those guys seem like nice enough young fellas. It's just that's not the lifestyle I would ever promote. I think personally myself, I think they should try to get away from it as best you can. Because it's not just not right. It's unhealthy, actually, from everything I've read about it. So, and there's that beautiful dog there. I think that is such a beautiful dog. And look at that poor girl. I've never seen her out of that cage, ever. And that's all she does is just bark. She's wagging her tail. She wants petted. And that's a shame. And then they got this one up here. He's been here as long as I can remember. I think if he gets off, it wouldn't be good, though. He may be wagging his tail right now, but, he's got a pretty mean bark. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. This is his life. That's where he's been. We've been coming around here for almost 2 years, and I've never seen him anywhere else. A couple times he actually put water in his bowl. I found a pop bottle and got some water. Some of these spigots are on, and I filled up some water and went back there and poured his jar full, and man, he went straight to it. He forgot all about his barking and everything and sucked up every bit of water I poured in there. It's hot here, guys. I remember when I'd be walking my dogs, even my hunting dogs, I always carried a canteen of water. Not just for me, for the dogs. Sometimes they'd come in, and when they'd start hanging around you like that, they'll find stuff out in the woods to drink. But sometimes we'd be hunting in areas where there wasn't anything. So if they came by me, I'd call them over and pour some. I had a hat. I had this hat that would hold water. I'd pour it in there and just let them have a good drink. You gotta keep your dogs hydrated just like your children. You can't let them get dry. But there's our rec center. But it's a beautiful day. I'm starting to get a little sweaty. It is humid. It seems to be raining a little bit every day. Some days it's just a moderate rain, 5 minutes long, or just a half an hour long soaker. And then some days it just thunders and lightnings and really pours down. We've been getting some beautiful light shows at night. We have Peput. We call her the Pink Lady because every time I see her, she's usually wearing pink. So we nicknamed her Pink Lady. And then we got Mayette. She's a little tiny Filipina, another caddy. Just super nice people. We're glad to have them. And we miss you, Mayette, if you're watching. That's our other caddy friend. She retired from being a caddy, and now she's managing a building site way up towards Manila, so we don't get to see her too often. And I do not like to go to Manila. Somebody was saying about the shoes, and you can get Crocs up in these stores in Manila, but the only way I'm going to go there ever again is on a bus. I'm not driving the car. You get harassed too much by these traffic cops. I don't have tint. If I had tint, they wouldn't bother me, I think. But they see that Kano face, and they make you stop. I did a vlog on the one. I was in a left-hand turn lane with my blinker on to turn in a left-hand only lane, and he's blocking me. He's blocking my turn, and I had a big gap where I could have made my turn. And it was not a no U-turn area or nothing. It was a turn. And so I tooted the horn, hey, and I'm waving, get out of my road. Well, that ticked him off. So he walked over the window, give me your license. I'm like, what for? He said, where are you going? I said, I'm trying to go over there. He says, pull forward. Well, as soon as I pull forward, guess what? I went straight in a left turn lane, even though he told me, and that's what he was getting me for. And the only way we got out of it was I don't ever hand him the money because that's illegal. That guy reached in and took it, and then we were free to go. And this happened. It's been happening. I don't know. I think it's because I don't have tint, but I just don't. I thought for a while having tint, I'd rather have like blinds. I used to have an old station wagon with the rearward facing seat the way back, and I had on the back, I had on the sides, I had it was like strips of dark and light. It was a hunting scene on the outside, like mirrored, but you could see out of it really good on the sides. And I had that all the way up to the driver's window, and then in the way back, it came with like a Venetian blind. And it was really cool because the dude who had it, he had a long stick that he put in with eye bolts all the way up to the driver's seat, and I could reach up over my head like this and open it or close it, which was really cool. And in traffic, I would keep it open a little bit. I could see enough. In that car, it had good mirrors. The guy had put truck mirrors up on the front fenders. He bolted these big truck mirrors on the front fenders. When it was a beater. It was an old beater car, but it was a great buggy to work in. It was fantastic. It was a big old Oldsmobile station wagon, custom cruiser is what they call them. But yeah, that was a pretty nice vehicle. But we got a nice one, a station wagon now. I wish Honda would have made the back seats facing backwards. I thought that would have been cool. It would have been a little more old school, but we did. We've had the thing. It'll be it's over 2.5 years now. We did have a bad tank of gas. That's run out. It's just every now and again it gets a little burp yet. So I went the other day and I put another. It was down pretty good, half a tank. So I put in another 1,000 to top it off. You try to get that off. I used to have a buddy when I worked at the bike shop, and he said, buy the Petron. And I'm going to just, why should I buy the Petron? And he said, well, he had a couple guys that used to come into his bike shop to get work done. They get the tune-ups and clean the carb and all that stuff you do. And they were guys who installed gas stations. That was their forte. And they said that the Petron stations aren't done the same as everyone else. They drain them to make sure there's no water, different tanks. He said the gas may all be the same. Who knows? It's just whatever their additive package is. But he said you're gonna get clean gas. And he goes, these guys' bikes, I never got dirt out of the carb. He said because they would only buy Petron. So I think what I'm gonna do is we got a Petron station right out the gate. They're everywhere, and I think I'm just going to switch just straight up to Petron and just not look back. It's just I just don't want the headaches. When my car was missing, I pulled the O2 sensor off. It's really easy to get to. Real easy to get to, and I cleaned it. It was a little carboned up. I cleaned it off, put that back in with a little silver dine so it'll come out easy. And then I also cleaned the mass airflow sensor. I have a little bit of spray. I sprayed that off. You got to be careful of wiping them down. You don't want to bust them. But I have a nice little brush that I put a paper towel around with some of the cleaner on it, and I wiped to make sure there wasn't any goo sticking on it. And car's doing good. It's all maintenance in these vehicles. Bike's running perfectly now. I'm not having any trouble with that. I want to get the gearing changed. It is a 14 up front, so I'll go down to a 13. I don't like to go below a 13 on the counter shaft, but just to get that first gear a little lower. If you want a bike that you're just going to ride single, don't get me wrong, I like this bike, but it seems unstable. It would probably be okay for Filipinos lighter weight. I see a lot of guys riding them. I'm even starting to see grab drivers and working guys that deliver for their livelihood. Lots of them are driving it because the price is right. It's a really good deal. And so a lot of those guys are buying it. But the Mio's the big one out here for delivery guys. You can carry so much stuff on them. So if you're wanting a bike just as a single get-around bike, and you're a bigger fella, I wouldn't recommend it. It's just unstable at slow speeds. I've tried everything to make it a little bit better, but And it's not me. I've been on other bikes already, and I can get them down to a dead stop before I get my feet down. This one, even when you're doing just a couple miles an hour, it's like, whoa, you know, it just doesn't want to balance itself properly. So that's why I always like the Hondas. I had Hondas, my goodness, when I had that, I said CRF 650L. It actually was an XR. I just got CRF on the brain because I want to go see that CRF 300L. That would be a cool bike for around here. I don't really need to get on the highway.